So this is my Megalopolis here in Cities 2. 228,000 people, pretty healthy amount of revenue coming in, or so it seems. After a couple of minutes here, the revenue is just going to tank. And what I'm going through here is showing you just sort of the sort of import-export information that they provide, the surplus and deficit. Although it doesn't really tell you how much is being imported and exported, it just tells you the surplus and deficit. I've got connections in and out of the city on highways, train, airport, and passenger cruise lines. I'll speed it up a little bit, and you'll be able to see here that the revenue that's coming in just dissipates. It just disappears completely. And we start going into debt like $500,000 a second, which makes no sense because nothing changes. Like, I didn't add anything or remove anything. It just is fine, and then it craters. And I cannot figure out why. So I've tried a number of different things, and you'll see that a little bit later in the video. I've tried things like cutting all of the connections outside of the city. Here I'm just going to show you some of the different overlays to get a sense of where things are in the city. You know, everything's pretty well functional. You have the typical issues you see in a large city like this with traffic and things of that nature, but everything seems to be pretty well, up and running. Nothing seems to affect the loss of revenue. I've heard people say that it's sort of import and export issues going nuts in the background. So I thought, okay, well, I'll cut all the connections outside of the city. Maybe that'll solve it. It doesn't solve it. Then I thought, well, what if I disable all of the expensive services? So for example, some of the expensive power plants, the incineration plants, some of those are like $1 million a second or a minute or an hour or whatever. So I tried disabling all of that. You'll see that later in the video too. It doesn't matter. Nothing stops it. Once it starts to nosedive, it just continues to nosedive. Here you can see significant amount of people in transportation, 45,000 in subways. A little bit of a traffic problem here coming into the city in one of the highways, or I think that's a large road, with the taxis. I guess I could solve that by putting other ways to get in, but no matter where I go, I seem to always have that issue. The mail service in this game is bonkers. Like, I can have tons of post offices all over the place. It never seems to be able to keep up with it. And sometimes it doesn't seem to deliver mail at all. The big post office station things, not the little local post office, but the big sorting facilities, they don't seem to do anything. I don't know what's going on with those things. I mean, they sit there, they store mail, they never seem to do anything else. I've read some people saying something to the effect of they can't operate if the semi trucks can't get in and out of the city or something. But I mean, obviously, eventually they could get in and out of the city even with a lot of traffic. So that doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense either. You'll see I go ahead and plop this down, and for a while, even with, triple speed or whatever, it doesn't seem to do anything. And then suddenly it kicks into gear and a bunch of postal delivery trucks start going out. So, I don't think the postal system is an issue here. Education is always a problem in these games, and especially in this game. You never seem to have enough elementary schools. I think that's a fundamentally broken part of this game, and really Cities 1 had some of the same issues. No city needs to have 50 elementary schools. It's 220-something thousand people. I can't ever seem to build enough elementary schools. Meanwhile, somehow, I only need 2 or 3 high schools. It doesn't make any sense. The same number of kids need to go through the system. How could it be that I need to have 40,000 spots for elementary kids, and then somehow those kids just disappear and don't go to high school? I only need like 5,000 spots for high school students or whatever. I'll show you that later. That doesn't make any sense. but it is what it is. You can't really, explain some of the things in this game. They don't always make a lot of sense, even though it's supposed to be a simulation. You can go and add budget to the education system, but that doesn't seem to help either. When you add the budget to the education system, it doesn't increase the capacity of the buildings. It just helps with graduation rate, which has never been a problem in the first place. That's another thing that's confusing. A lot of the bonuses for the education system have to do with the graduation rate, which again is never a problem. So I don't understand why they put so much time into these little add-ons for buildings that have to do with graduation rates. It's into the university level too. It just doesn't ever seem to be an issue. So I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense to me. That seems broken as well. Okay, so now here you can see we started to lose money, dramatic amounts of money there. Look at that going down. So I'm shutting things down. I'm like, okay, forget it. I'm going to shut things down and see if that's going to make a difference in the revenue here. And you can see, it's showing you the outside connections. So I'm like, okay, there's my imports and exports. Again, these numbers don't really mean anything. Percentages don't mean anything. I need revenue numbers beside those percentages in order to really know what's going on with that. Now you can see here, I'm still well into the positive for the hourly income levels, but still losing hundreds of thousands a second, or a minute or whatever in the game. So this is where I get every single time I try to replay this city. It doesn't seem to matter what I do, it always breaks. It always fails to recover. So here, I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, all right, well, maybe it's the import-export thing people have mentioned, right? Let's get rid of the outside connections. Oops, I can't do it there because I don't own those tiles. So I have to go a little bit further in. So, okay, delete. We gotta get rid of everything. It can't be any way in or out of the city if it's an import-export issue of some kind. All right, so close all those off. I gotta go up here and do these, the various highways and roads that I've built, which is upsetting. Like, I already have massive traffic issues. This probably isn't gonna help much with that, especially people trying to get in and out for work or whatever. And there's one over here by this power plant or this incineration plant or whatever. Okay, now that's it for roads and rail. And you can see it doesn't matter. Like, it's not having any effect at all on the income levels. So at this point, I'm stumped. I don't know what the issue is, how to fix it. I really don't have an idea as to what the cause of this could be. And the game doesn't tell you. You can hit the chirper thing, and it's not, the citizens aren't going to be like, oh, you gotta, we're having a really hard time getting fresh air or something. I mean, it doesn't tell you anything. There's no way of knowing. These numbers, I've looked at them a bunch. They seem to stay relatively the same. So the surplus and deficit numbers. So I don't know that is giving me anything useful. So now here, in like a desperation move, I decide, all right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shut things down. I've already shut down the transportation things. But you can see here, but this is shut down. Why are there a bunch of cruise ships still trying to come and dock here? There's 4 right there. It's been shut down for a while now. Why are they still trying to come? Maybe if they're already on the way, they have to like complete their route or something. Maybe because the line exists, it keeps coming even though the port's shut down. I don't know. That doesn't make a lot of sense at all. I've noticed that planes will fly in and out of the airport even when they're shut down for a while. I don't know. Maybe I just need to wait longer on them. I'm not sure. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, well, what else can I try? Because now I'm over $100 million in debt. Eventually, I decide here, okay, I'm just going to shut down everything. I mean, remember, some of these things are like $1 million a month in upkeep almost, and that really adds up. In theory, shutting these down should result in a massive revenue surplus, at least until everybody moves out. So I'm shutting down millions of dollars a month worth of services. And you can see nothing's happening. Even that hourly income level, which should be through the roof right now, isn't. Now, in a minute, it will go up some, but then it just drops back down dramatically. So, okay, I'm still shutting down. Look at that one. This is 95, 100, 800 and something, and just chunk, knocking them down. There we go. Now, I've cut more off. It didn't make any difference. They still dropping. All right, let's do some more. There's a 952 a month. And when you turn it off, it goes to 95, right? I mean, what? What is that all about? I don't understand. This game makes no sense sometimes. There's one that's 555,000 a month. Turn it off, 55,000 a month. So apparently when it's off, there's still upkeep. It's just like 10% or something. All right, now look, so I've disabled a bunch of stuff. I should be in the millions in revenue, but I'm not, and I'm still losing money. I'm still looking for more things to shut down. There's so many things running all over the place in the city. Might as well shut down the hospital. Who cares, right? They'll have to deal with it. Shut this one down too. That doesn't work anyway, so why not? Okay. I don't think there's much left. Now look at that. Now I have less revenue coming in than I did before. But look at the chart on the left. I should have tons of revenue coming in, but it's just nothing. The only one of these budgets I've really increased is the garbage management budget, because for a long time, now watch this, when I reset this, it goes from millions in the negative to over 1 million positive. I'm suddenly, without any connections to the outside world, making tons of money off of garbage collection. It makes no sense.
Area due to poor road conditions.
When I disabled that, you can see the hourly budget improves, but there's nothing else there that's
This has been a local public
enabled.
service announcement.
You're listening to Second Moon, the epitome of classical listening at home or wherever you roam.
We're live.
Try click and reset a few times here just to see if it's bugged somehow,
somewhere,
but doesn't appear to be.
Road maintenance services have all.
Now I'm up to, what is that, 471,000 in revenue. It doesn't make any difference. Then I thought, okay, let's just for fun increase the tax rate, right? I'll just look through this again for the hell of it, but there's nothing there. Nothing there worth worrying about.
Just in from traffic. If you're thinking
So I'm thinking, okay, what if I just increase taxes across the board? Look at that surplus. Look at that. And yet, I'm still losing money.
Seems like everyone is in a hurry to get
500,000 an hour. I'm still losing money. So if I increase taxes across the board, at least for the short term, that should result in a huge surplus in revenue until they all leave.
Besides, if I did that,
So why not, right? Why not just take that up? Let's go up to 15% for everything. Here we go. We're adding, I don't know, a couple $1 million or something. I don't know, tons of money, right? Okay, there it is. Ooh, look at that. $1 million an hour in revenue. Of course, people aren't thrilled about the taxes, but let's see if this fixes the budget. And no, it doesn't fix the budget. It has no effect on it at all. There's something fundamentally broken in the back end of this game where once this city gets to a certain point, it's non-recoverable. I cannot fix it. Everything I'm thinking of, everything I've read, everything I've tried, nothing works. So it's basically just broken. Basically, this city I put 20 hours into cannot be played any further because it just won't function after this point, which is really frustrating. Hopefully there is some technical issue that they can resolve that will fix this, but as it stands right now, and I've already had this issue now for like the last 2 patches, it's just fundamentally broken. It cannot be played. So do you have the same issues as I have? If so, let me know in the comments. Is it because the city gets to a certain size and the simulation engine can't handle it? It doesn't know what to do? Maybe I'm just missing something. If I am, let me know what it is. Maybe I'm missing something obvious that I'm just not thinking about. If your city is large and you have the same issue, have you found some way to resolve it or work around it? Let me know in the comments. Let's try to figure this thing out. If the developers fix it, great. If not, I don't see how you play this game after you get a city over a certain size.